What's going on, guys? Zambano here, and today we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. We are finally here at the end of the regular season. It makes me kind of sad knowing that we have very limited football left until we're going to have to wait until the fall to watch football again, but we're finally at an exciting part of the season where we do have playoff football to watch. I'm a big Dolphins fan, and they finally made the playoffs. It's been 8 years. I've actually only seen them play in one playoff game ever, and they got stomped by the Ravens, so I could not be more excited about watching these games this weekend. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. We're going to go through a preview of the 4 games this weekend, the wild card round, first weekend of the playoffs of the 2017 now Super Bowl run. So the first game of the playoffs is going to be 4:25 on Saturday. That's 4:25 Eastern time. Raiders at Texans. Now the thing about this game is they just played each other just over a month ago in Mexico City, and the Raiders won the game 27-20. But that was back when they actually had their starting quarterback, Derek Carr, who is now hurt. I think we all know that. Matt McGloin also hurt. Looks like Connor Cook is going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders, and his first playoff game. First start is going to be a playoff game for the rookie. They're also playing against a struggling quarterback of Brock Osweiler for the Texans. This is not going to be a very exciting game, in my opinion, unless you're a fan of either the Raiders or the Texans. But really what this comes down to for me is there's a guy who is leading his team, a team that is really known for their offense, not so much their defense. It's his first ever start in the NFL, and it's going to be on the road in a playoff game against a team with a pretty good fan base. I don't really see this going well for the Raiders. The Raiders lost 6-24 last weekend against Denver, a team with a really good defense. This Texans team actually has a very comparable defense in how good they've been this year, how good they can be. They don't have the big names that Denver has, but they're playing just as well as any other defense in the league, and they're rated number 1 in the NFL in several categories. I think with this top defense, playing against the not very good defense of the Raiders, they should be able to outscore them. Like I said, Oakland only scored 6 points last week. I don't see them doing enough to get this done. Houston wins this game at home. Later that night at, I believe, 8:25 Eastern time on Saturday, the Lions will be on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. The Lions are known for their offense, but they're actually only ranked 21st in the league for total offense, and the Seahawks defense this year may not be as good as years past where they've been the best defense in the league or second or third best, but they're still one of the better defenses in the NFL, so we'll have to see if Matt Stafford and that Lions offense can drive down the field in such a hostile environment as Seattle. It's going to be a struggle for them to win this game on the road. There's a great home field advantage from the 12s for Seattle. Detroit has a minimal run game, so it's going to be kind of easy for Seattle to pinpoint what Detroit's going to do most of the game, having to pass the ball, and I think Seattle is better at they're better at stopping the pass than the majority of teams the Lions have faced all season long. So Russell Wilson, a guy who usually balls in the playoffs, I kind of expect that to happen again. Don't expect to see a whole lot of running from this game, even though the weather might not be ideal. I would say you're going to see a lot of passing from both quarterbacks. I like the experience of Russell Wilson in the playoffs. I like the playmakers on defense for Seattle. I like the home field advantage for Seattle. I just don't see this one going the Lions' way. I think this is probably the most lopsided game of the playoffs. Maybe the Raiders without Derek Carr might be more lopsided, but I'd say this is a pretty lopsided game. I will take in what could be surprisingly close. I don't think the Lions have much of a shot to win, but I think the score could be kind of close. I will take Seattle at home over Detroit. Now, to start Sunday at 1:05 Eastern time, I do live in the Eastern time zone, so sorry for those of you who do not. 1:05 Eastern time on Sunday, Miami plays against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Dolphins beat the Steelers earlier this year, 30-15, in one of the most convincing wins of the season for both Miami and one of the most convincing losses of the season for the Steelers. That was a game where they did hurt Big Ben. Rashad Jones also got hurt that game and has not returned and will not return for the Miami Dolphins this season. As you all know, Ryan Tannehill is hurt. It doesn't appear that he'll be playing in this game, even though they're trying to give him a go in practice. I would say there's about a 95% chance he does not play. So Matt Moore will be playing for the Miami Dolphins, who is currently he is a backup quarterback, but he's only lost 1 of the 3 games he has started this year. He has a quarterback rating of about 105, and I think has the second most yards per attempt of any quarterback in the NFL this season. Now, Miami can pull off this upset if Jay Ajayi can establish the run. The last time they played the Steelers, it was Jay Ajayi's breakout game where he did have over 200 rushing yards on the game. But one of the keys for the Steelers to win this game is get Ladarius Green healthy, because Miami really struggles guarding tight ends. If they can get Ladarius Green healthy, I think they have a great chance of winning this game and beating the Dolphins. And I think Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, the Dolphins know they're going to get theirs. I think they're going to do everything they can to contain them, but I don't think that's what they're worried about, is losing to one of those two. They're worried about losing to the crew of all the other players that the Steelers have, like Eli Rogers or Sammy Coates or Darius Hayward-Bay, or like I said, Ladarius Green or Jesse James. I think that's the crew that they're worried about killing them on defense. This Dolphins defense is made up of a lot of okay players, guys who wouldn't start in a lot of other teams, but they have very good coaching. I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting game. I think nobody's giving Miami a chance. Nobody's picking the Dolphins. I can understand why. They're arguably the weakest team in the playoffs from both the AFC or the NFC, but I definitely think they have a chance, and I think they have a better chance of beating the Steelers than they would almost any other team in the playoffs. If Miami can make Big Ben create turnovers, they can win this game, but there's also the possibility that Big Ben picks them apart play by play on defense. I think this game is going to come down to the final drive, and since nobody's picking the Dolphins, I'll go ahead and pick them myself. I think this is a winnable game for them. They've already beat this team once in the year. That doesn't mean they won't, though. And honestly, if the Dolphins lose to the Steelers, I'll probably be rooting for the Steelers from here on out in the playoffs. I do like that team. I just think that this is a winnable game for Miami, and they win a lot of matchups. Final game of the weekend, Sunday Night Football. We are going to have Giants at Packers. Wow, this should be a very good game. Packers beat the Giants 23-16 just a few months ago, so the Packers can win this game, and this is going to be at Lambeau, a place that they play very well at. Great home field advantage. The thing that really sticks out to me the most is this. Aaron Rodgers is on fire right now and is arguably the hottest, not just quarterback, but hottest player in the league at this point right now. Eli Manning's been struggling a little bit lately. Both teams are very, very focused on beating you through the air with their passing game, and when one quarterback's on fire and the other one's just been so-and-so, I'm usually going to take the one that's been on fire. Now, this Giants defense has been good all season long, and they have given up the least amount of touchdowns in the NFL so far this year, but Aaron Rodgers is hyper-efficient. He's a guy that he doesn't need to get 300 yards to put up 3 touchdowns. He might only finish a game with 180 passing yards, but he could have 180 and 4 touchdowns. He's very efficient with what he does, and he plays good against pretty much any defense. Sure, there are ways to stop him. He likes to take all day in the pocket. If you can create some extra pressure, which this Giants team can with guys like Olivier Vernon and Jason Pierre-Paul, if they can get to him, give him less time to create those plays down the field and let his receivers get open, they certainly can win this game. This is not a game that I feel like is a shoo-in for the Packers at all. I think this is one of the most pick-em games of the entire playoffs, and I'm very excited to watch it. But there's a weird theory. Eli Manning was drafted in 2004. In 2008, he took his team to the Super Bowl. 4 years later, in 2012, took his team to the Super Bowl. 4 years later, 2016 season. Is he going to take his team to the Super Bowl this year? Every 4 years of his career, he has gone to the Super Bowl. And I believe the last time, or one of the times, he did actually beat the Packers in Lambeau to go to the Super Bowl, if not both times. I know it happened at least once, so maybe this is the road. Maybe this is the way it's supposed to go. Eli Manning, if they win this game, I'm just going to go ahead and say the Giants win the Super Bowl just because of the Eli Manning every 4-year theory, but I will take the team that is led by the hottest player in the NFL right now, the Green Bay Packers. So to go over this one more time, I have the Texans winning at home against the Oakland Raiders. I have the Seahawks winning at home against the Lions. I have the Dolphins on the road upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers in a very close game that comes down to the end. And then I have the Packers beating the Giants in another probably close game due to the guy that I think could be the MVP of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. So I hope you guys enjoy football this weekend. Be safe. If you're going to the games, I'm going to be very jealous of you, but it's probably going to be cold at all these locations, so enjoy the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please press like. Feel free to subscribe. I'm Zambano, and I'm out.